Chainsaw Man is a manga that follows Denji, a boy that... What is that? Excuse me, could you turn that down? Hey, stop it! Let's be honest, if you've been in the anime community for more than a day, you've heard all this before. Chainsaw Man is everywhere, and you know what it's about. You know about its insanely unconventional storytelling. You know about its non-stop, breakneck pacing. And you know that Chainsaw Man does not hold back. I've seen a lot of things said online about Chainsaw Man. Some good, some bad, and some very strange. But the thing that bothers me most is when people say that Chainsaw Man is nothing more than its fast pace and shock value. Funny story, I actually used to be one of these people. I mean, I wasn't like actively hating on the series, but when I finished reading Chainsaw Man for the first time, all I could think was, that was cool, I guess. I didn't really get Chainsaw Man. And how could I when there was so much being thrown at me in only a short 97 chapters? But for some reason I still don't know, I decided to give this story another chance. Maybe it was the bizarre humor, maybe it was the intense fights, or maybe it was the, So anyways, I decided to reread Chainsaw Man. And wow, that was a transformative experience. As I read, I began to see the series in a whole new light, and realized that it was way better than I had previously thought. So yeah, you should read Chainsaw Man if that's what you came to this video looking for, but what I really wanted to focus on today is what happens when you aren't blinded by the extreme pacing and shocking story. What happens when you reread Chainsaw Man? The world of Chainsaw Man is a deeply terrifying and unforgiving place. Devils, empowered by primal human fears, lurk around every corner, creating a world that feeds on human suffering. Our heroes hardly ever win. Instead, it's more like they find a way to survive. Well, until they don't. Important established characters constantly die, and the plot just keeps on chugging forward, leaving little time for reflection. When you first read Chainsaw Man, this is what keeps you going. The intense pacing, leaving your jaw on the floor with each new twist and turn. Chainsaw Man is impossibly chaotic, making the story impossibly hard to predict. But when you read back through and know what's going to happen, you can't help but feel a looming sense of despair flowing through each chapter. You remember all the craziness, but forget what fills the gaps between. And that's a problem, because these little gaps are where most of Chainsaw Man's characterization happens. Take Kobeni for example. On my first read through, I didn't really care for her. Actually, I kinda disliked her awkwardly quirky personality. And upon a reread, my thoughts pretty much stayed consistent, until a certain 2 pages. When an assassination attempt is made on her life, Kobeni's partner sacrifices himself to shield her. But as expected of Chainsaw Man, the pacing only picks up from there, with an awesome fight following this moment. As a result, it's only after the fight is over that Kobeni has time to think about her partner. And when she does think about him, what does she do? She laughs. She laughs at the absurdity of her situation. She laughs at the thought of spending another day hunting devils. And she laughs at the idea that anyone would care enough to save her. In just 2 pages, all of Kobeni's layers are pulled back to reveal a broken person. This was a tiny moment I missed in Chainsaw Man's torrential downpour of events, but it was crucial to build my understanding of Kobeni's character. Small character moments like this fill the pages of Chainsaw Man, but when there's so much being thrown at a new reader, only some of it will stick. And as you start to notice these moments and gain a better understanding of the characters, you also begin to develop a greater empathy for them. Yeah, Kobeni being forced to play DDR is wild, and the first time I read this, I even laughed. But when I read this part for a second time, okay, yeah, I still laughed. But I also thought about how miserably scary this scene is. In the midst of a life-threatening situation, Kobeni fails, only to get back up and fail again. It all feels so hopeless, but in a way that makes you empathize with Kobeni. You may not have spilled ice cream on a monster and then been forced to dance, but everyone can relate to the emotions that come with constant failure, and that is the power of Chainsaw Man's storytelling. These characters live in a messed up world, and that is something that Fujimoto never tries to downplay. However, it's only as you reread Chainsaw Man that you come to understand how important this is for the story. On a first read through, Denji mostly seems like a shallow character with even shallower ambitions. But in the context of this strictly paced and increasingly unpredictable world, Denji's journey to find agency makes sense. In a story that tries so hard to control him, Denji is a boy trying to break free of the endless cycle that continually takes from him. Denji is not a shallow character, and neither is the rest of the main cast. Chainsaw Man is a story about how different people cope with living in a messed up world, and I think when you're going through the series blindly, you miss a lot of what makes that statement true. For every Yakuza member that takes advantage of others, there's also a person like Power, who finds comfort in others. One of my absolute favorite moments in the series comes when Denji is facing an especially significant opponent. Denji is down for the count, and the situation again feels hopelessly inescapable. But what makes this moment stick out so clearly is that this time, there is hope. The city's citizens crowd around Denji and sacrifice their blood to revive him, begging him to save them. These people saw the good in Chainsaw Man, and they chose to believe in it. Yeah, sure, it's twisted and insane, but to these people, Denji is their savior. And so it's heartfelt in a surreal way only Chainsaw Man can be. The point is that because of everything surrounding this moment, its implications went completely over my head the first time I read through Chainsaw Man. And if I would have never reread it, I would have forever greatly underestimated Chainsaw Man's depth. Chainsaw Man is dark, gritty, and insane. But upon a reread, you begin to realize that it's also purposeful, sincere, and heartfelt. Deep down, Chainsaw Man has a heart, but you have to do some digging to find it. And that's what makes this manga so intensely captivating. Chainsaw Man is one of those rare generation-defining pieces of media whose meaning morphs and evolves with each new experience. So if you are like me and felt indifferent after reading Chainsaw Man, or even if you think you got everything you possibly could have out of this story, please do yourself a favor and reread Chainsaw Man, because it is way better than you think. Or I guess you could just watch the show because the anime is coming out soon.